following is a presentation of KSL Sports. Hello, Cougar Nation.
Top of the key, triple. Richie Saunders, fourth three-pointer of the night. Massive make.
Every Monday night, we break down the Cougars' last game and look ahead to next week. Cougar Nation, brought to you by Central Bank. Here's BYU insider Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio.
Good evening, Cougar Nation. Mitch Harper, Matt Baiamonte with you live on this President's Day holiday action of Cougar Nation, talking BYU hoops, and BYU is experiencing a recent surge. They're on a 2-game winning streak and trending up as they gear up for maybe one of the biggest weeks in BYU basketball history when you look at the names of the opponents that they're going to be facing, and we'll be discussing that over the next hour. And Dallin Hall is going to be joining us live here in this show at the bottom of the hour, and we'll be taking your phone calls as well. 801-575-8255. These are good times, Matt.
Great times. BYU's won 6 of their last 8. They are on the right side of the bubble right now with plenty of opportunity to even give that a little cushion with Kansas and Arizona, then later Iowa State as they close out this regular season. So BYU, Mitch, they're playing their best basketball of the year, and it's coming at the right time.
It's exciting times, and let's recap that big win over Kansas State from the weekend and our takeaways.
Cougar Nation, takeaways. Mitch and Matt analyze BYU's last week of play and what it means for the next week.
BYU 80, Kansas State 65. You know, Kansas State's a 500 ball club pretty much this year, but for those who weren't following along closely, K-State was one of the hottest teams in college basketball. They were on a 6-game winning streak, and BYU hammered them, 80-65. Big win for the Cougs, and to your point, Matt, it's one of the reasons why BYU is on the right side of the bubble in many bracketology projections as of today, getting that quality win over K-State, getting also that win last Tuesday against West Virginia. What were some of the big takeaways from the K-State game? And also maybe if you want to work in West Virginia as well.
This BYU team can beat anybody in the country, Mitch, if they rebound the ball. To me, it is that simple. They out-rebounded Kansas State by 10, 41-31. They had a monster performance from Baiamonte, 11 rebounds, 1 point shy of a double-double. After the game, inside the Marriott Center, they always pick a player to be the MVP. It was Baiamonte, and his impact was tremendous. He dominated the paint. 5 blocks doesn't hurt as well, but to me, it's this simple. Forget about the three-point shooting. That's important, but at the end of the day, if BYU wins the rebounding battle, they almost always win. They've only lost 2 times this year when they've won the rebounding battle, so that to me is the key stat for this team. That one point in the Big 12 play, Mitch, they were the top team in terms of rebounding margin in the conference. It slipped a little bit during the losing streak. They've picked it back up, and boy, when this team rebounds well, they are good.
What's amazing, too, is that Baiamonte goes for 9 points, 11 rebounds, 5 blocks, and it's only done in 18 minutes.
Right.
It's incredible to think that, you know, he's putting up those type of numbers in a very limited role, and that's kind of nice because BYU suddenly has a formidable front court with 3 guys that they can turn to, and so these guys are not getting overworked, and they should be fresh heading down the home stretch. I thought a big takeaway for me was once again Dallin Hall. Dallin Hall was excellent for BYU, and again, he's going to be joining us at the bottom of the hour live to recap his performance and preview tomorrow night's game against Kansas. But Dallin Hall was excellent, 16 points, a season high in scoring. But beyond that, too, I mean, 3 assists. He took care of the basketball, only 1 turnover in 24 minutes of action. Dallin Hall was excellent, and you know, he noted that the good shooters around him have allowed him to be more aggressive on drives.
Yeah, I kind of felt the game. Our shooters are so lethal. Teams notice that, so they really stay out, and it opens up a lot of driving lanes. And so my teammates, my coaches have been on me to be assertive and to get downhill more. And so with that, those openings, I just tried to take advantage of them. And the rim was open tonight, so I put it in the basket.
I love that choice, Mitch, because Dallin Hall is a key to this basketball team. And I feel like the aggressive Dallin Hall that we've got for the past couple weeks changes the way I feel about the possibilities of this basketball team. He was sought after in the transfer portal. Let's not forget that. There were big teams that were interested in Dallin Hall. They retain him, and when he plays at this level, when he plays at a level that is worthy of an honorable mention in the conference, it changes the dynamics of this basketball team because he's a really good player. And when he is scoring and when he's aggressive, you see what happens. 80-65, a 15-point win against one of the hottest teams in all of college basketball. Forget about the Big 12. All of college basketball, Kansas State was surging. And Dallin Hall in that second half, he put them on his back, so to speak, offensively, made things happen. And I love, too, that he goes to the free throw line and knocks down 7 of 9. The team shoots 77% from the free throw line. What we saw against Kansas State, that was the most complete performance. And if they can find a way to play like that, I think they'll win tomorrow. And they've got a chance to win a game on the road against an Arizona or an Iowa State. I love the way this team is playing right now, Mitch, and Dallin Hall is a big part of that.
It's definitely true. And Hall, I think what's exciting as well is that, when you look ahead to the future, he's still got one more year of eligibility. And next season, if, let's assume Yegor moves on to the NBA, Dallin Hall is the primary point guard, and you've got AJ DeBansa, who Nike Basketball over the weekend during NBA All-Star Weekend saying, the future is now. You put him at the 3. Quite a lineup already potentially next year for BYU basketball with Dallin Hall and AJ DeBansa, and then you got Kaba Kate. I mean, I could go on and on.
Richie's got a year of eligibility. Well, wow.
Right, and that's the thing is that BYU is putting together pieces and showing you their potential, and there's still so much room to grow with this year's team, but then in the future ahead with Kevin Young in year 2. I thought another big takeaway for me was that BYU can win in a different way than what you've grown accustomed to from this team. They didn't knock down the threes at a high clip like we have grown accustomed to. They only hit 26% from 3, only 6 of 23 against K-State, yet they win by 15, and they put up 80 points in the process. I thought that was a promising sign for this team.
No doubt about it. That's important, that you could find other ways to win, and yet I still felt like there was some back-breaking threes in that game. Trey Stewart, of all people, had a massive 3 in the second half when Kansas State was erasing what was a 22-point lead. Stewart makes a big one. Dallin Hall, his only made 3, I thought was a big one. And it's important for this team to do the other things besides three-point shooting to win games. Rebound well. Take care of the ball. I love that they had 18 assists and to 12 turnovers. That's a solid ratio. 6 steals, 7 blocks. They dominated the paint, and they're not the tallest team. And that's going to be a big key for tomorrow. We'll get to the Kansas breakdown a little later on, but they have to continue to play strong in the paint because there's not a 7-footer they can throw out there. But if they can play like this, and they can get rebounding help from the guard position too. You look at the guards. Dallin Hall chipped in with 3 rebounds. Richie Saunders, 14. It's kind of ridiculous. Richie, 17 and 14. A double-double for Richie. He had a game-high plus-minus of 25. But I like that the guards were helping there as well. When this team is at its best, they're getting contributions from everybody in all facets of the game. And to get that kind of performance at home on that stage, I believe it was Richie who noted post-game, Mitch, that they knew that this Kansas State team was kind of feeling themselves, and rightfully so. They had won 6 in a row. They had beaten Arizona, Iowa State, Kansas. They had a reason to be full of confidence. BYU recognized that and still took it to them. There's not enough positive things you can say right now because there was a moment in early conference play, Mitch, where you felt like, could this unravel a little bit? And now we're looking at a team that's playing their best basketball of the year.
You brought up Richie Saunders, first career double-double for Richie. This was him on pulling down 14 rebounds on the glass.
You just pursue the ball. Like I want to go every time to the glass. And today it just bounced my way a little more than usual, I guess.
It is remarkable how good Richie Saunders has been for BYU, and he just keeps getting better. And Kevin Young pointed out in the post game that there's guys like Richie that have that relentless motor, but typically they're not good on the offensive end. I thought that was a fun tidbit because, Kevin Young, when he says something, it brings so much, institutional knowledge because the man has lived it at the highest level. So when he's saying that, kind of slaps a little bit differently. And, he's been around many guys that have those great motors, and Richie's unique because he's got the motor, but then he's also got an outstanding offensive game. He's one of the best in the Big 12 right now.
I'd also add too, Mitch. It's unique how many guys BYU is playing, and yet there's still great chemistry. There's good camaraderie, and even that the rotation has expanded a little bit to include Boscovich and Trey Stewart. It's still working. It doesn't seem like it's too helter-skelter. For whatever reason, this team has kind of bought into KY and his culture, and this is what Kevin Young had to say about that large rotation.
Having depth is a blessing and a curse, and I've told this to several of our players. Even this morning, I met with one of our guys and told him, hey, look, man, like it'd make my job a lot easier if I was playing 8 guys like a lot of teams do. But, I mean, we had 41 bench points. We got guys. I have a lot of guys. We have a lot of guys that could start. And so it does make my job harder and I thought that's where the game got a little funky in the second half. I couldn't find the right combination of guys, and then ultimately we end up doing that. But, I think it shows the maturity of our group to be able to, allow us to do that. And some games it's necessary, some games it's not.
There weren't many games or many thoughts in my mind, Matt, coming into the year where I was expecting BYU to win games where Cannon Catchings goes for 8 minutes and 0 points. But that's where BYU's at right now because of that depth, because of the versatility they have in this 11-man rotation. They don't need Cannon Catchings, the heralded freshman, to come up big. I mean, he can be a complete afterthought if need be because there's so many options emerging for this BYU team suddenly.
And I like, too, that you kind of never really know where it's coming from. On certain nights, you need Trevor Nell to score more and play more. He has 4 points, 2 early layups, and he only plays 16 minutes. But that's okay because Trey Stewart was playing good basketball. And Yegor Demon was playing well. And Mawut Mag defensively, I thought, did a nice job at times. So it's nice that you have the options. And really it's a credit to the players' ability to accept these roles because there could be teams, and we've seen BYU teams in the past, where not everyone accepts the roles and the playing time they're given, and it doesn't work out. But this group, they've bought in, they want to win, and they're winning at just the right time.
We'll start to dive into BYU versus Kansas on the other side, and Cougar Nation is sponsored by Central Bank, serving Utah County for over 133 years with trusted service, modern technology, and personalized care. Central Bank. Call us up right now, 801-575-8255. We're taking your phone calls. It's Cougar Nation here on KSL News Radio.